So with that, I'm going to open it up to Registrar O'Donnell.
Can I jump in?
Sure.
Josh, sorry. And I've said this to every other group that's come before us. The Abrahams Group was an effort by the county to consolidate as much as we can and make the county more efficient where we can. And it wasn't, it's a study by the Abrahams Group, and it's something that we're going to review, and we hope to work with the departments. And there are different things within the report that different departments will say, we can do this. And some things we don't like to do that. And so we're looking for feedback from the different departments to see what we can agree on to start, and then to see what works for the department and what doesn't. And our goal is really to make the county more efficient and to do it at less expense to the cities and towns that are funding it. So anything that you can give us back with feedback, that'd be great. And if there are things that you see that you can agree on that are easy, if you want to talk to the county director even later after the meeting, that'd be swell. And then I know you're going to raise different issues today, but I just want to bring that up that everyone is the same. We're just trying to boil it down a little bit to try to make a better product.
Well, I appreciate that, Peter. And I recognize that, with you said it's a recommendation. But, I'm here to advocate on behalf of the Registry of Deeds, of course. And we feel that the registry is a sound customer service oriented operation, and it certainly utilizes technology. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the registry staff and employees who make it all happen. So, yes, we use technology, but it's the employees that make it happen over there. They do a great job. And I hope it's not lost on everyone. They did it during the pandemic. The Registry of Deeds didn't experience a single day of uninterrupted service during the pandemic. And it was because of two things: the registry staff and because of technology. So the Registry of Deeds was open and operational every workday, and that goes back to the start of the pandemic in March of 2020. So, I would, I know I sent to the three county commissioners a couple of documents, and in some of those documents, there is agreement with the Abrams report. One big agreement is we're the second busiest registry in the state of Massachusetts. And the only registry that was busier than us is reported to be the sixth largest registry in the United States of America, Middlesex South. So we were tremendously busy. And it wasn't just for 1 year, it was for 3 fiscal years. The Abrams report looked at fiscal 19, 20, 21. So again, we were tremendously busy. With being busy, again, it's because of the registry staff. And through technology, we collected a lot of revenues. Over $81 million was collected in fiscal 21. And $11 million of it came over to the county. So these are significant numbers, and I hope it drives, again, my focus today is technology, because obviously we have a little controversy as to information technology. And I think one thing this controversy has shown is that there is a number of people who have stepped up for the Registry of Deeds, and they haven't done it because anyone asked them to do it. They're doing it because these are registry users, whether they're attorneys, title examiners, just regular citizens, the assessors department. We interact with the assessors department. So a lot of people have shown great regard for the Registry of Deeds and what gets done there every day. So I don't think I'd be doing my job if I didn't say this. There will be no modern functioning Registry of Deeds without an on-site registry IT technology department. If you want to do other things with our technology department, that's great. But it's a 2-person department that is at the Registry of Deeds. And it works with the Registry of Deeds staff. And more importantly, it's interwoven in our operations. So my chief focus today, is the IT recommendation that Mr. Abrams came up with that I think severely impacts the registry IT staff that's been there, and also it will affect operations. And we clearly have disagreement with that. And And I know, again, if I could make this part of the record, I know it went to you. You know, I made no secret about where I stand on the issue. One thing about the information technology department, I want to emphasize it's woven into the fabric of registry operations. You know, through direction, they're not an island unto themselves. We've incorporated them into operations. We're in sync with them. And all the things that have gotten done over the years, I will challenge anyone to say that the Registry of Deeds hasn't been an agent of change or hasn't rolled with the modern times. You know, when I got there, there was no email there. And you'll get some perspectives with some of the people that are here today, like Rich Kennedy, who came back because he was around. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my first chief information officer who came on board when I started in 2002. That was Chuck Phelan from Quincy. And he was replaced when he went on to do bigger and better things in the city of Quincy with Jim Limby, who just recently retired. So we've had two registry chief information officers, and they worked with me. They worked with the registry staff. They worked with the registry users. They worked with the assessing departments. They worked with the public. And I think that was lost when this Abrams recommendation came up. So what I'd like to do, you know where I stand, and later on I may try to circle back with some comments. But I thought it'd be best, why don't we just listen to the professionals? And it's a good time. I'm going to start with Ed Wheeler. Ed has come here. You know, we've had some changes, significant changes at the registry. We're sorry to lose great people, but we're happy that, you know, they've moved on to, again, bigger and better things in their life. But they did a great job at the registry. But with Rich Kennedy leaving, we've had some shifts. And one of the shifts was we had to bring in a second assistant registry of deeds. And I'd like to introduce you to him and have him say a few words, because he comes here with experiences as an attorney, but also experiences. Let him talk about his experiences in registries. And maybe it's good to get a perspective from someone that is relatively new here to the county. So, Ed, come on up. And Commissioner Shea, Commissioner Collins,
Hey,
Commissioner Stady.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Hey, Will, thanks. Thanks for giving me an opportunity. Should I stand or sit?
Have a seat.
Thank you very much.
You're too intimidating when you stand. I don't mind. Sit. Any minutes of
As the register said, I'm the new second assistant register. I took over that position on April the 5th. I was a title examiner since 1974. I used to examine real estate titles for my grandfather in Malden, and I got a job when I was in law school. I went to Suffolk Law School at night, and during the day I worked for a firm in Boston, Nunn McLennan Fish, in their real estate department. I did a lot of their commercial and residential title examinations. And after that, when I graduated, I was a solo practitioner, and I worked with a couple of other attorneys, and I mostly did conveyancing and title examination for other attorneys, and title policies I write. So I had obviously a lot of familiarity with the Registry of Deeds. So in 2003, Gene Brune, who was the Registry of Deeds at Middlesex South, offered me the first assistant's job. And obviously I took that job in 2003. I worked there while Gene was the register from 2003 to 2013, when a new register took over. And fortunately for me, she kept me on, not as a first assistant, but in a supervisory capacity, and basically, the person that had been there and understands the workings and the operation of the registry and the legal issues that arise in the course of the day during, taking in the documents and so forth. So last, I think it was December, Register gave me a call, asked me if I was interested in coming over to Norfolk, and obviously I'm here. I jumped at the opportunity. And one of the reasons is because I've always respected the Norfolk Registry of Deeds, the operation, how it works. As I mentioned, I've personally examined thousands of titles. And I'm sure you probably know what a title is. If you're purchasing a piece of property and you go to the lender's going to have an attorney, or the attorney's going to have a title examiner, and somebody's going to come in and they're going to do a title report, and they're going to go back and they're going to search all the records that are relevant to that particular piece of property back 50 years. and they'll chain the title back, make sure that everybody who bought should have been a seller, and there's no missing interest. So if A and B bought it in 1956, then A and B sold it in 1962, and if only B sold it, you got to account for A. Just it's a lot of technical aspects. So you go back 50 years, and then you run everybody in that chain of title forward to see if their mortgages were taken out and discharged. I won't belabor that, but that's essentially what it is. And you compile the data, you give it to the attorney, they review it, and they pass title, and you close your loan, and everything runs smoothly, hopefully. Okay, that's not always what happens. The main thing in that business, the conveyancing business and title examination business, you have to rely on registry's records. They have to be accurate records. It's crucial. If there's a mistake, it can have really dire consequences. If say, for example, you're buying a piece of property from Mr. Smith, Smyth, and so the examiner goes back and searches the titles and says, well, here's this one outstanding mortgage, there's nothing else. And unfortunately, maybe somebody at the Registry of Deeds, when they saw the mortgage, they were inaccurate, and they index it as SMITA. So the examiner doesn't see that mortgage, doesn't report that mortgage. They go ahead and sell that property. There's going to be a lot of problems, obviously, not only for the homeowner, but for the conveyancing attorney, for the title examiner, and for the registry. That's why it's crucial that the information is indexed correctly by the registry personnel. It's an important it's an important function. It's one of the most important governmental functions, in my opinion. And I think I bring a unique perspective to the registry and in reviewing the Abrams report. As I said, I've always thought of Norfolk as probably the best run registry. And when I was an attorney, and particularly when I was the first assistant register at the sixth largest registry in the country, if I had a question, a lot of times I'd call Rich Kennedy. I'd bounce it off Rich because I always appreciated his experience. Just to give you some of my impressions of the report, I read it particularly with interest, the registry operations part, and there's some inaccuracies that I found. I mean, not to belabor it, but like, for example, in section 14.7, it recites Norfolk County processed more documents than the average documents processed for fiscal year 21 and fiscal year 20, less than for fiscal year 2019. But if you look at the chart above that, the registry had processed more documents than the average registry on 2019. It just seems to me that somebody should have caught that. I mean, I don't know what the editing process was, but my main observation from the report was there was no input from any of the stakeholders. And by the stakeholders, I mean the Real Estate Bar Association. That's the organization that conveyancing attorneys turn to. They have their own registry section. I'm aware that no one from who is compiling the report contacted anybody from REBA. I talked to the president of another organization, the Mass Association of Title Examiners. No one had ever talked to them to get their input, anybody from that organization. I talked to the president a couple of weeks ago. Other stakeholders be like the real estate brokers, Greater Boston Real Estate Board, the Mortgage Bankers Association. It just seems that I question the statement in the report that when Norfolk County is compared to other counties that process large volumes of documents, other counties are more efficient in processing those documents. And I just say, wait a minute, what does that mean, more efficient? If you're using a metric equating efficiency with documents or transactions per staff, it's an unreliable metric. What you need as a metric is you have to have documents processed accurately, and you have to have documents processed in a timely fashion. Okay, accuracy, obviously, I've just told you what can happen if there's a misindexing. And timely is very important too. Timely is, it's a Friday and you're selling your property, you can, and you are buying something in the afternoon, then you want to make sure your deed has to get to record in order to get the funds to buy the property. So you can have 2, 3, 4 different transactions tied in to the same, to the same amount of money. And if they blow it over at the Registry of Deeds, if it goes off the rails, you're talking 2, 3 transactions. And if it's a Friday afternoon and you have your moving van lined up, now it's going to go down the line. So the conveyancers rely on the Registry of Deeds to make sure they process these documents in a timely fashion. Even if it's a Friday, we get hammered over there sometimes, but you have to get everything on record. And if you don't, it's going to have some, serious consequences for your constituents, The one thing that in particular with the report was I noticed, I guess, section 14.20, the report recommends, I'll quote, Norfolk County should further benchmark itself to Middlesex South. The benchmarking exercise should start with Middlesex South as they process far more documents than Norfolk County with greater efficiencies in each of the 3 years analyzed. So I'm not sure what the report means by greater efficiencies. Having been the first assistant registrar and employed there for 18 years, I find that statement to be completely lacking in insight and any kind of fundamental understanding of registry operations. And I say that with love for my former colleagues because they all did the best they could, but they were limited in the number of personnel and they were limited sometimes by funds. It was brutal over there. And I'll give you an example. Registered land, you have to have a certificate of title. It's a different system, and I won't go into it. There is some explanation, pretty rudimentary explanation of registered land in the report. But basically, your title is a certificate of title. So your certificate of title has to be written and in the book for the examiners and the conveyancers to review. Middlesex South has thousands of certificates that are unwritten. And it's not because of a lack of effort, it's because they didn't have the trained personnel to write the certificates. When I left, I was the only one, and I had just trained somebody to be able to write the certificates of titles for subdivisions, because all these subdivisions go back to one large parcel, and it's a complicated procedure, and unfortunately, the personnel weren't trained. You can go to the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. Every certificate is on the shelf within a month, I would say. There are no unwritten certificates over there, okay? Another thing is customer service. Norfolk has a great customer service department. Middlesex South, and again, I don't want to bash Middlesex South. I love Middlesex South. I love my time there. We didn't have a customer service department. People would call up, constituents would call up asking questions. What do I do about my homestead? How do I get my discharge on record? And that call would be bounced around. I used to get a lot of the calls myself. Over here, we have trained personnel who can answer these questions, have experience, if you're an elderly person and you're wondering about the homestead, you don't want to have people talk down to you. You want to have good service that you can rely on, good information that you can rely on. You don't want to get put on hold for 10 minutes. That's just two of the examples that I can, say with respect to the difference between Norfolk and Middlesex South. Another one is the books are on the shelf there. You can find the document. I can't tell you the number of times I had to call a conveyancer to get a copy of a deed or a mortgage because they had recorded it and somebody had not properly scanned it and sent it back out the door. That's not going to happen here. Okay. I guess in short, what I'm saying is Middlesex South shouldn't be the benchmark here. And again, I say that knowing both sides, both systems inside out. The benchmark should be Norfolk. Norfolk is the best run registry there is. As far as consolidation of IT department, I'm not a tech guy. But when I started back in 1974 at the Registry of Deeds, it was photocopiers were they were the most advanced technology available. And I've seen it go through the process of imaging. We had the Wang system in Middlesex South, and now everything obviously is online, desktop imaging. The Registry of Deeds has to be at the forefront of technology. Not only that, the other thing I would say is I want the counter with the recorded land personnel. I have to supervise, make sure everything that goes on, if they have questions, they ask me, should we take this document? Should we not take this document? Try to process them as sufficiently as possible. But for example, last Friday, I wanted to try to maximize some efficiency. There was a little tweak that we could make. Just eliminate keystrokes. Source subject, but it just speeds up the process. I called, I asked Dan, I said, Dan, can we do this? Let me take a look at it. Within 45 minutes, he was back. He said, you do this, you type this, and that, and you can go into that menu, you can do this, and it's going to save a lot of keystrokes. We need somebody to be able to talk to right away. I mean, we can't be waiting for somebody to call us back. We need the on-site IT personnel. I just don't know how a registry operation could survive without it. If you want to benchmark Middlesex South, when I was there, we had two IT people. We had an IT supervisor. We had an IT assistant supervisor. This is from 2003 to 2018, when unfortunately the IT supervisor passed away suddenly. During that time, we had an IT supervisor, IT assistant supervisor. We had a tech support person. We had a 3-person department, IT department, and the registry, because the state registry had the state IT department as a help desk, as a backup. But even with the help desk in the state IT department backing them up, they still had 3 people in the IT department. You had to have it. I just don't know how you could survive without it. So I guess I would just say, I think Confucius once said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I can tell you, in my experience, in my opinion, this registry is not broken. I know a lot of people that are in the business, conveyancers, other title examiners. Without a doubt, they would all say, Norfolk Registry of Deeds, and I'm not just saying that because you're sitting there. Norfolk Registry of Deeds is the best, one of the best, if not the best, operated registry in the state. So that's all I have to say, and I appreciate the opportunity to give me speak. Thanks.
Thanks. And when he was mentioning Dan, that's Dan Caparata. He's our registry IT technical assistance person. He worked, under Jim Limby and helped out. If I could bring Rich Kennedy, he brings some perspective too. So if he could come and just talk about some of his thoughts on the whole.
Nice to see everyone again.
Hi, Rich.
Thanks for the opportunity to sit here, and that was a tour de force. Just some comments on the report. I know a lot of stuff gets hashed over the years, and I've been here from the beginning when the computers and stuff came in. I worked closely with Chet Svensson, who was down there, Chuck Phelan, Jim Limby. Like Bill says, the computers are an integral part of the registry operation now. Looking at the report, first part, as far as the recommendations for the registry, like Ed says, I didn't agree with a lot of the comparisons or the methodology, but be that as may, there was only a couple of recommendations. And we'll take a look at those and see if it advances the registry operation for the future. One of the comments I saw was that there was some confusion about upper management as far as responsibilities and who answers to who, whatever. But we've always had a pretty collegial operation over there, and everybody does what anybody can do. And they talk to these people. Yeah, I had just left, and it hadn't come on yet. So I can see where they thought there may have been some kind of problem with it. But I think the operation runs well now. The staff is great. These guys work hard, and I don't see any reason that there should be any kind of change there. The one thing that I didn't like about the study was that they didn't go over there and talk and see what we do. I think that's a key part of how you see a registry. Mr. Stady, very, very familiar face at the Registry of Deeds. He knows what we do, and I think if you're doing a study of the registry, it's very important that you go there. I understand the pandemic, but we've been open every day since June. We would have been available for, important visitors or whatever if somebody wanted to come. We had the masks and the cleaning stuff and everything. So I think that was a major failure in the report. But be that as it may, like I said, we'll look at the recommendations. We'll take them into consideration and see if they positively affect our operations. The second one about the IT department, merging the IT department and taking it to the commission's office. I will say that in the past, it has been one operation. We've had Jim Limby was the head of the county IT, and he had Mark down here, he had Dan up at the registry, and everything was very, very smooth. I thought the operation ran very well. That was the way things ran for a long time. This is not a new thing that departments are separate or anything like that. There was an unfortunate incident with one of the other departments in the county that caused the breakup of the departments into the registry and the county IT. I think our guys had a legitimate beef about some of the things that were being done to the system because of the fact that they're so attuned to the security. I mean, the registry, we have to be on guard all the time, because if anybody could ever get into the system and start messing around with the names and stuff, with the information, or locks it up, we're cooked. I mean, we have all the books and stuff, which is great. We could go back and redo all the information. But, if we ever had one of those ransomware attacks, we'd be in serious trouble. I mean, they tell you to pay, who's going to pay? It's something that, we have to be on guard all the time. And I think that is such an important part of, what we do and what the county does. And the fact that we have this, the technology intertwined with the total operation of the registry, we have the electronic recording. We have everything, all the records at the registry back to 1793 are on the website. I mean, we've been open, not for the public every day since the pandemic started, but there hasn't been a big problem with the title examiners because they know they can find anything that they need. All the plans are there, images of all the documents, all the land court titles, everything is available on our website. And I don't think you can say that for many registries in the state. I know a lot of them were forced to even, let people in to search because they didn't have enough records. Some of them only go back, 30 years maybe or so to for indexing and stuff on the web. So, and that came about because of working hand in hand with the IT department in Brown Tech in figuring out, what we could get online. Well, how do we do this? How do we create a project that's going to get everything available for everybody? And it says we go back 50 years on the title. Well, yeah, most titles are easier like that, but a lot of times, there's gaps or something. You have to go back further and further. And, we're pretty proud of the fact that if you go at the records and put in book 1, page 1, you can see the first documents from 1793, but, nobody's really looking at those. But it's important stuff now for genealogy or for the towns going back to look for information about, some of the properties that they own. One of the projects that we did was the transcription project. We took all the books up to 1900 were handwritten, and we had them transcribed into typed images, so people can read them, because some of that stuff is unreadable. My handwriting's unreadable now, and I can't, those people were trained as scriveners. It's still nowadays, it's not that easy to look at. So I know that there's been a lot of comments pro and con about how this is going to work out. But I think the fact that, the guys up at the registry, not only do they, watch over the system, but, they answer a lot of calls, a lot of comments from people that are using the system. If you have a problem with your computer, you can call in, and the line goes right into the IT department, and they'll talk to you, they'll walk you through it. They'll even remote into your computer and straighten you out, so the thing works to your best advantage. I mean, I think that's, part of the customer service. It's a big part of what the IT guys do. They're involved with sending the documents to the assessors, with the towns and things. But, from my point of view, it was working hand in hand with Chuck Phelan and Jim Libby, developing these programs so we could go back and enter all the information from 1975 to 1900. Go back from 1900 to 1793. Try to get everything scanned in and make everything match, so people could use it easily on the website. And I think we've succeeded at that. And I'm not saying there's not any more projects. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of things we can still do to enhance the records, to give people a better understanding of the land and the buildings that are in the county. But I think that the fact that you would take the IT person and bring him down to the county, it doesn't make any sense, because I would say 80% of the work would be at the registry anyway. And to state how important we feel that our IT department is, there's never been a day without somebody there on site. And one of the rules that we have is and it's only a 2-man group, so you know how hard that could be. But there's always been an IT person on site at the registry for the last 15 years, so how long we've had 2 people. There's never been a day we haven't had at least one person there to answer questions and help us straight. And it's the lifeblood of the registry now, the technology. That's how it works. So we have books, people can look at the indexes and stuff in the registry, but everything's online now. I think that the importance of that can't be dismissed at all. Once again, I thank you, gentlemen. Glad to be back here for a little bit anyway.
Nice to see you.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Rich.
I'd be glad to.
Any questions of Rich?
Yeah, I didn't know if you want to do it now, but wait till the end, but.
Whatever you want to do, Commissioner.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to pick up a couple of things. I'm all over the place there, but I had some general comments too. But let's just
We'll
first.
do those at the end.
Yeah, IT, you said, would be 80% on the registry side,
At least.
20%. What's your basis for that? How do you come up with that number?
Based on the system that we're running up there, that has, we have thousands of customers, but we also get thousands and thousands of hits every week on the system.
All right.
So that's an ongoing thing. Plus, everything there runs on, the Brown Tech, which is our document management system.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys are intricately involved, making sure, everything is running, the reports get done, things like that. I think that our use not only of Brown Tech, but the PCs for the staff, the office staff and stuff, they have to control all that too. I mean, we have 40 employees, and people have 40 PCs, or more, 50. We have a couple. A lot of people have more than one.
I'll interject there. We have over 125 PCs, and that's one of the issues. And again, I would make this part of the record. Commission, the Norfolk County Operational Review Information Technology Report that was submitted. That was one issue you have with Abrams is that he got the number wrong, and at least get how many computers there are. But why you would make a comment is a bigger size. That was Exhibit 7 in that report, just to give you a small size. And these can't come right off. They're available to the county as well. You have a technology user comparison. Just people that have electronic filing accounts. We have over 2,000 people, and your computers, it could be anywhere from probably 20 to 30. I wouldn't begin to guess like what you have. We also in Exhibit 7 looked at, for instance, we have a registry website that is interactive. People come in there every day to do research. And in Exhibit 7 on that chart, we have active users. We looked at they can pull out, it's available to everybody, website views. We had anywhere, 7,888 views on a day to the county's 864. So where they're coming up with 80-20, I'm not an IT person. It could even be 85 for the registry, 15 for the county, is because we have a bigger infrastructure footprint. We have more need for security. There's more switches. The system is just bigger because we got over 2,500 people that have e-filing accounts. We have another 2,000 people that have research accounts. We have how many thousands of people who are looking at the records online. So our website presence and our website is a user website. So that's where the comment, and again, it was touched upon in the report that the registry delivered to the 3 registers. That's where the whole notion of the IT infrastructure at the registry is a lot larger than the county infrastructure.
All right, just quick follow-up. I don't want to get to what I want. I had other comments about the whole report, but just to follow up. So
Sure.
A computer has a problem. I know it's listed in the Abrams report, and I know by being there, you have a tech person and an IT person. Using the school model, IT person doesn't do that. The tech person is one of, like, if I had a problem with my computer, I call it the tech person. They come fix it. So the tech person would be addressed on his computers, not the IT person. So you can't really use that as evidence. That doesn't, I don't think that's substantial. The IT person, I thought, would be in charge of cyber attacks, monitoring your website, making sure the system's working, or do they do both? Just tell me if they do both.
We have an IT department.
Okay, so it's shared.
I mean,
It's shared.
the chief information officer
Yeah,
oversees everything.
Right.
But, so he has an assistant. Well, either one of them will go out.
So they kind of
fix
do
the
that work.
computer. So
Okay.
it's,
I
hands-on.
need to understand
Definitely.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely hands-on.
Okay, so he's doing hands-on plus the other job there.
Right.
Okay, that's helpful.
I think that's an important point. People have great titles, chief information
Yeah, well,
officer,
you know.
dating back to Chuck Phelan.
Yeah.
Know what I say? Everyone has great titles over there. Chief cooks and bottle washers. There's all, they're doing everything. So Dan Caparata is skilled, maybe not as skilled, and we went through that as far as being a chief information officer, but hopefully someday he'll get there. But he is great at networking and still having an idea of the infrastructure, and as Rich says, the CIO. So the model that we've used is everyone, it's all hands on deck. So it's not they're an administrator. These people are hands-on with the technology.
That's an important point.
Well, one of the things.
I don't understand is this.
Yeah.
It has been such a ballyhoo. And I want to recognize all the people out there that have sent all of us letters and emails and phone calls and other things. It's been great.
Right.
It's always great to have constituents. But I'm trying to understand and wrap my head around, we're not eliminating the person.
Right.
He's still going to be in the county.
Right.
He's still going to be in the county.
Right.
He may be located here or there. Right. So
That's
I want
fine.
to understand you're advocating to keep him there.
Right.
And I want to understand why.
Right.
And I've gotten feedback. Believe me, in my own town. I heard from the Board of Assessors.
Uh-huh.
I heard from people that I know,
Right.
lawyers, you name it. They
Right.
don't want that person to move. Helping me today, telling me that they're also doing tech work and assisting. Okay, if they're over here, over there, that does make a little more sense.
Well,
That's a helpful point.
one thing
So
I
the
will say-
title aside, that person's helping out with all sorts
yeah.
of things.
One thing that we've done ever since Dan came on, and even before that, we had another woman in there working as an assistant with Jim,
Right.
is that we have a sheet that lists basically all the jobs that are involved in the IT. And the thing is that we wanted both of them to have at least some ability to handle each job. You know, Dan came in and he didn't know that much about, you know, the infrastructure, whatever that Jim had a good handle on, but he's a network guy. You know, he handles the PC desk and stuff. But, you know, we asked each of them to, you know, be familiar with each other's position. Like I said, there's somebody there every day. So, you know, Jim's not there, Dan's able to handle the stuff that needs to be done and vice versa. So it's for us.
I didn't want to sidetrack you, but
No, it's not. I like to have Margaret, you know, the Register of Christmas Trust. And
I had questions for you and your
benchmarks. We're here all of that. You're not taking my presentation.
I flagged the benchmark, but I didn't know we could ask you a question, so.
Feel free. I would like Margaret to give her perspective. But to the point that I would make as to why they should be over there, first of all, they've always been under the budget direction of the Register. They've worked with the registry staff, registry users. That's how it's been since 2002. And I recognize, things can always be changed up. Well, sometimes change is good, and other times it's a bad change. This is a bad change. Why? When we have issues, when things go down, we operate in real time. There are lawyers that are saying, hey, we need to get this stuff on record. So we have, and you can do that because I think we have a good management team. We have a good management system. As far as I'm concerned, not to sound like Bill Belichick, but everyone's got a job to do. And the IT people there, they know they better be timely and responsive and provide good customer service, and they do. And they do things that I'm not even aware of because I'm getting feedback. I'm seeing letters from assessors I don't even know who are writing letters on this saying, you can't believe the work that the IT staff does to make sure the registry records get to the towns because they use those records to set your tax rate. Now, maybe the people don't want the tax rates to go up, so maybe they don't want the records there, but it's a very important role, and the Department of Revenue has regulations that require the assessors to use this information. But Marguerite, do you have anything to offer? Or then, ask any questions, because that's the only way. The dialogue is so important on this issue, and I hope through dialogue we can put this issue to bed, to be honest with you.
All right.
So,
well, I have other questions, but I want.
Well,
then I'd like to go on, but I want to hold the questions till the end.
Right.
I would just like to say that, I mean, it worked very well for a long period of time. Having the registry CEO, having the county CEO work together with everybody on the departments. I think that is a model that could be followed in the future as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Rich. Thank you.
Just to be clear, I still call Rich Kennedy with questions. So, I don't want to step over, repeat what everyone has said. I just want to talk a little bit about the report and maybe some of the limitations. I think it's the most important decision you're going to make for this decade is whether to keep this at the registry or eliminate it. We are technology. That's all I can say. There's nothing more or less. If you value the technology, you also value the work of our people. Some of the daily tasks that are done that our IT department accomplishes is the backup of everybody's work. You can't value an employee and not make sure the records and the data they created that day are not backed up. We have a very sophisticated infrastructure there. And with all due respect, I don't think it was captured in this report at all. I'm trying to temper my remarks by reminding myself of the remarks of the superintendent last week. And very thoughtfully, he said, I don't think it captures the feeling of our school or the core mission. And the report doesn't either. We're a recording office. That's it. And the mission of that recording office is the security, the accuracy, the safety, and the accessibility of the records. That's what we are. And when you've got someone, as Ed spoke about, in the driveway, waiting to move into a house, you want to make sure you can find those records. It's so important. The lenders rely on it. The conveyancing attorneys, everyone relies on it. we have a very complicated infrastructure. And the report seems to compare the two. County has a website. We have a website. Again, Bill just mentioned it's about 600 hits a day on your website, and that's probably mostly from the registry, and about 6,000 on our site. That doesn't even capture the whole picture. A lot of those are casual users of our website that find the link and want to find out about our fee schedule. They want to get onto the research site. Your practitioners, your real estate attorneys, all go to our research site directly. So that doesn't even capture the amount of users. The report somehow compares, it says somewhat blandly, that the county has infinite visions. And we have Brown Tech, the registry. Infinite Visions has about 15 users. And I'll just add that our former CIO, Jim Limby, argued for a long time that Infinite Visions should be expanded. That decision not to expand it rests in this address, not with the registry. It was urged to expand that. Brown Tech, as Rich mentioned, is our homegrown technology. Brown Tech is a particular company, but this is custom made for the registry. They've added enhancements, updates based on our needs and the priorities that the register has set. We also have an IBM server, which I don't think is even mentioned in this. This was purchased, actually the new one was purchased 2 years ago. There was an earlier version of the IBM server in place before that. This was over $150,000 purchase. It was researched by Jim Libby. It was spec'd out by Jim Libby. It was vetted extensively. Nancy Rockwell helped us with this purchase, looking at everything, making sure all the I's were dotted and the T's crossed. This is a workhorse. It's extremely unique. It carries all of our images and all of our data. So everything recorded every day is converted into an image, all the documents. All of our staff create the data. This workhorse links the image to the data. All of these images, all of these records are nothing if you can't find them. And that's what this does. This is such a unique feature that very few people know how to use it. The people coming in to repair it, Dan Cavarata said, don't you realize how old they are? And by old, he means my age. But it's very few people, kids coming out do not know how to serve this server and to maintain it. Everything, our entire infrastructure, if I can use the words of Dan Cavarata, it is a living and breathing system. And you cannot keep it without taking the vitals every day. And the server, our firewalls, all emit messages. They're given commands, and they emit messages that have to be monitored every day. If I can leave something with you, it's the fact that this is not a crockpot. It's not set it and forget it. We can't build this enormous structure and then have someone over here, maybe, scheduling tea times? We can't. There has to be a priority. And I don't mean to, Carl at the golf course certainly shouldn't wait for us either. We need it. We can't do this with less technology. And it's not a choice of, the county has this, we have that. We need this technology. We can't survive without it. And it's the value of all our employees. In my own opinion, and I'm not an expert, this would be the most regressive decision you could make, is to take this position out of the on-site department. It's integral. We don't have a problem on the floor of the record hall without calling IT. And if I have to make a phone call to Brown Tech or an e-file user, IT is sitting there, and we have the person on speakerphone. They have the language, but they're monitoring the system all the time. We just can't leave it there and hope that everything goes well.